watched every single episode of Scandal. And then at this point, my hair started falling out, and Jahat had cut it really short. So it was like a little buzz cut, but I still had like little tiny hairs. And when I was discharged that time, my sister is 10, and my sister knew that I had cancer, and at first she was really scared, but because I wanted to be really open, she felt a lot more comfortable with it. So the last day that I was in the hospital, we were waiting for the doctor to fill out all the paperwork to let me leave, and my hair was coming out really easily, so you could just pull it right out. So I told her that she could draw something on my head, and she wrote her name, and then she was like, "Mama, I did a cancer symbol," and I was like, "I don't know what that is." So she took the picture, and it was the little ribbon for cancer. And it was the little things like that that really made the difference for my family, and especially for my little sister, because I never made it seem like it was something that was too big that I didn't want to talk about. So that was cool. After that, all of my treatments get really blurry, and they all feel like one. Some of them were a lot longer, some of them were a lot harder. Some of them were more than Monday through Friday because they would start late, and the chemo had to run exactly for 24 hours for 4 days. And then I had to do something before and something after. So anyway, because I'm not going to tell you every single one of the details, I wrote this poem that explains after I was in remission, I was a little more reflective and realized all of the things that I gained from cancer, and why I, in spite of the fact that it was a really hectic and overwhelming thing, it was also really gorgeous, and it's brought me to a whole new place that I wouldn't have expected to be here a year later. So, the first line is from A Course in Miracles, which Tia recommended, and the quote is, "Miracles should inspire gratitude, not awe." I have been in remission for a few months now. I was napping with Madison when my oncologist called to tell me. I was not particularly excited. I could hear how heavy the disappointment was in her voice. She told me to tell my parents. Surely they would be delighted. They were. That day, my father emailed every person he knows. He called it a miracle. Called my body doing its normal body things a miracle. I did not tell him the miracle was not the cancer being gone. The miracle was Kaiser. The miracles were the nurses, the ones that checked in regularly because I didn't complain enough, the ones that sat on the edge of my bed, asked about my life, like anything mattered more than what they knew on paper. The miracle was having favorite nurses. Susanna, a mouthful of tender, gracious and cozy, she peeked in, offering her smile even when she was not my nurse. Michelle cared for me like it was not a job. She brought her daughters in to meet me. She cried every cycle. Jonathan showed me pictures of his family, told me stories when I was alone. The miracle was that I was not alone, not ever. The miracle was Lover, his pulse, an anthem reminding me where I belong. The miracle was the silence. The miracle was my 10-year-old sister telling me to not be scared, asking me to rest and drink some water on the harder days. The miracle was my parents spending every morning in the hospital with me after not speaking to me for 3 months. The miracle was forgiveness. The miracle was not cussing anyone out. The miracle was learning to ask the right questions. The miracle was knowing how to listen when my body asked things of me. The miracle was the machine the chemo and I were attached to, being silent for a few hours. The miracle was the night they let me leave at 3 a.m. The miracle was having an appetite, being able to taste food. The miracle was learning to breathe, remembering everything has an end. The miracle was having something to thank God for at all times. The miracle was that it was unchanging every day. The miracle was feeling his soft and my hollow. The miracle was Kanye. The miracle was Mario, how ordinary he made me feel, how he stood on the side where my pick line was during the concert. The miracle was him noticing when Kanye and I locked eyes. The miracle were the visitors. Howell giving me a Halloween, face paint and lunch. Mr. Wise staying for hours just to talk, leaving his laughter tucked into the corners of my room. Walter coming late the night I couldn't sleep. The miracle was no visiting rules. Madison sleeping over even though she fears hospitals. Katrina, Bride, Vanessa, Lover. The miracle was always Lover. His abundance, the extents he would go to make me laugh, the way he carried hope in his mouth for me, a place to take from as freely as I wanted. The miracle was Jahat texting me every day to ask how I was. Danielle sending me videos of herself. The miracles were the texts, the messages, people thinking my life was that valuable. The miracle was community, DPL and live stream, receiving notes from the definitive soapbox after spending a day in the emergency room. The miracle was being aware that I was surrounded by holy. The night I learned I was in remission, I wrote, thankful does not ask for joy. It only needs acknowledgement. The miracle is knowing my happy is not dependent on sales. The miracle is being grateful and that being enough.
Great.